G'day folks, Ben from Snows here today, taking you for a walkthrough of the Coleman Instant Swagger 3-person tent or swag with darkroom technology. This is a compact tent that's an alternative to a swag that offers easy setup and a great extra room for your campsite. Now, these swagger tents from Coleman have been really popular and are a great option for people who might be sort of looking for a swag but maybe want a little bit more living space than a swag but still want the same sort of pack size. This doesn't have bedding inside. It's basically a tent with a frame, but it packs up to a smaller sort of size than a swag does. But it has nice durable fabrics, a nice durable floor, and it's a really good or easy setup option for an extra room, maybe for kids in the campsite. Your teenager wants their own space. They don't want to be in the tent with mum and dad anymore. This is an easy setup option to set up anywhere in the campsite. It's got an instant up frame inside. We're taking you for a bit of a walkthrough today. We'll get to the frame shortly, but we'll start with the fabrics. It's made with 150 denier polyester. It's got a 1500mm water head, so it's a good quality, good waterproof fabric, and it's nice and durable. Now, this version of the Swagger has got what they call their darkroom technology. So this has got this black coating on the inside here, which blocks out about 95% of the light, which means you can sleep in longer in the morning. If the sun's rising earlier, you're not an early riser, this is going to keep it dark inside the tent. They do also claim that it keeps the temperature inside the tent down a little bit, not by a whole lot. That probably works well if you're using the shade that this fabric provides combined with good ventilation. So you'd still want this open to allow air flow through because it creates a bit more shade inside the tent because it doesn't let that light through. But the main thing is that it keeps it nice and dark inside so you can sleep in the mornings. As we move down, we've got 150 denier polyester inner here as well, and mesh door. This is a double door, so you've got a polyester back and then mesh on the front. This isn't a super fine mesh. I wouldn't say it keeps midges out, but it's certainly going to keep the mozzies and the flies out. And then a heavy duty polyethylene floor. So this is a tarp material type floor. So it's got that crinkly sort of feel, but it's really tough floor. It's going to keep you nice and waterproof. It'll keep all the water out. It's a bucket floor that comes 10 to 15 centimeters up on the sides here. Go for a bit of a walk around the tent, just looking at the front first. You've got this awning that sets up out the front here, and you get these steel awning poles included, so you can set that up as a bit of a weather protected entrance to the tent. You can roll this back if you like up against the tent here. You've got tabs here to secure it up there, so you've got ventilation through the front. Alternatively, if you zip it down to along this zipper here to secure the front here, you've got this vestibule, which is probably about sort of 70 odd centimeters of space here for a bit of storage for shoes and bags, and then it creates a nice weatherproof shelter for you with that all zipped up. Coming around to the side here, you've got two guy ropes, which I haven't got set up today. One of the benefits of this is Coleman have also incorporated these guy ropes on the inner tent. So directly behind this, attached to the inner tent, are two more guy ropes, which means you can set the inner tent up securely without having to use the fly. So if it is a really hot night, if you're in really warm sort of conditions, you don't need to use both skins, the fly and the inner. You can just use the inner tent and have a really good ventilation. On each end, there are these windows here. So this section here is a window, which is secured by a little Velcro tab at the bottom here and two zips up the side. So if we unzip these, we can set these up in a few different ways. Firstly, just roll it up if you like. So this is mirrored at the other end of the tent. So this opens up to a mesh panel here, which goes to another mesh panel inside. And then on the back of the inner mesh panel, we'll show you shortly, is another privacy panel. So when this is open and the inner is open, you've got ventilation through here, you've got ventilation on the other side and the doorway at the front there, and we'll show you the vent at the back as well. You can also set this up as a little weather protected awning if you like. There are guy ropes on each corner, so peg this out like this. It's going to keep a bit of rain, or if it is raining, it's going to keep the rain from coming inside the window, but allow ventilation up underneath. So coming around to the back here, we've got this kind of little sort of shape sticking out here. This is forms part of the circle ventilation that Coleman incorporate into a lot of their tents, and it features in the Swagger here. So you can see this sort of dome sort of shape here. There's a panel inside, so this has got the mesh on the outside here and a polyester panel inside, so it's adjustable from the inside. It's partially open there at the moment. You can open that right up, and then this pegs down and allows ventilation at the low level here. So you've got ventilation on all four sides of the tent. Coming around to the other end of the tent, swag, whatever you want to call it. Exactly the same as what we saw at the opposite end there. Another window here with the mesh behind it, so you could peg that out as, use it however you like, peg that as a weather protected awning or open for ventilation. And then back around to the front here now. We'll squat down in here a bit and have a bit of a look at what's up underneath here. I might actually just pull this off and show you some of the frame up under here. So this is the instant up frame. So this steel frame here. These poles run up and down each side here as an A frame. And then you can't quite see it with a fly on, but there's these extra little poles here just to sort of give a bit more headspace. These are actually composite poles or fiberglass poles. They're all attached to the same hub here. It all folds up in together. Check out our setup video on how that all works. But that's all incorporated into one. So as you extend the frame out, it all pops into place to make really easy setup. So let's jump inside and have a look at the space in there. Now, this door is a double door. So this is zipped together, both the polyester and the mesh panel here. There's a zipper on the inside that allows us to unzip the polyester panel behind, so we can just have it done up as just mesh, just polyester, or both if we like. So just mesh if we want that ventilation, but keep the bugs out. You can roll this back up against the edge here and secure it with these tabs. I'll just do it very roughly here at the moment, but you can keep that out the way there. You can secure each panel individually as well. So if you've just got the mesh done up, you can roll the polyester back. Now coming inside here, they say it's a 3-person tent. I'd say it's a comfortable space for 2. So we've got 240 centimeters in width this way from end to end, and then 210 centimeters this way. Now I'm 185 centimeters, so if I was to lie down, I've got space each end. The sides of the tent are just sort of touching my feet and my head here, so I fit this way. So that means I'll put some mats in here shortly, but you can quite comfortably fit 2 people. But the great thing with the 3P is if you want it for a kid's tent, you could actually fit 4 kids mats side by side here quite easily, and they'd be quite snug inside this tent. So a great space for 4 kids. The end walls here are quite upright, so you can sit at the tent almost right over to the edge here. You've got 130 centimeters of height, so there's heaps of headspace here, and I can sit almost right to the back of the tent with enough headspace here. Now these walls do slope a little bit, so that sort of impedes a little bit on the side, but those fiberglass or those composite poles that I talked about before just pull the roof out to this section here, so you've got a bit of extra headspace. At each end, a couple of windows. This is that privacy panel that I talked about on the inside here. If I unzip that can be secured down here. There's a mesh panel here, and we're now looking out onto the fly there. So there's a panel just down here. That's the mesh panel in the fly, where I've got the storm flap closed on the outside there. That also features at the opposite end of the tent. So you've got ventilation this end and this end, and you also get at this end a bit of a storage pocket. So just 2 mesh pockets here that you can store your stuff in. Window above that, and then at the rear, we've got that circle ventilation feature that I was talking about. So we can unzip this, roll it up at the bottom here. We've got that ventilation out and that little sort of dome that we've got pegged out there. If it is cold, zip this up. Or if it's really windy, zip it up, and it secures it or keeps it nice and it keeps it a bit warmer at the low level of the tent in here. The last couple of features inside the tent, firstly the power access point, which is down in this corner here. There's a red zipper on the inside here, which you can undo to allow power inside. So if you've got a fan or a lantern that you want to run off with 12 volt, you get a cable inside. And then there's also a little loop on the top here, just a little hook, which is secured to the pole that runs along the ridge there, that allows us to just hang a little lantern at the top here if we like. Not too heavy, probably wouldn't want too big a lantern there anyway, because it's going to hang down into your head space, but a small lantern like this one here can hang nice and neatly there. That's pretty much all the features inside the tent. What I want to do though is grab a couple of mats. I've got 2 single air beds that I'm going to put in here, just to give you a feel for the space that you've got inside the tent. Now these are just regular king single air beds that I've got here. So they measure about 190 centimeters in length and about 1 meter in width. So you can see for 2 people, it's quite comfortable. If I lie on one of these mats, my head is going to be slightly against the fabric at the end, and my feet slightly against the fabric at the end there as well. So these are quite high mats though. You can get nowadays sort of 10 centimeter self-inflating mats that are probably going to fit a little bit better. I thought I'd put some big mats in here to give you an idea of space. But that still gives me sort of 40 odd centimeters of space down the middle here to sit on the bed to put my stuff. You could probably put the mats this way as well, because we've got 210 centimeters in width. Let's see if this works. So for 2 people, that potentially works better, because we don't have the access from the doorway here, because the bed sits right across it, but you've got more head space there and a bit more foot space here, so you haven't got the fabric hanging on your head. So you've got a couple of options there for setup. You could probably also fit, you could almost fit a double high queen air bed in here. It's going to take up most of the space. It's going to sit right in the middle here because it's going to be 150 centimeters and take up most of the length, but you could fit a double high queen air bed in here as well if you like. But I reckon it's ideal for a setup with 2 beds like this. Probably 2 10 centimeter thick self-inflating mats is a great option, or 4 small mats for 4 kids in here are going to fit really comfortably. Now the last thing I want to do is collapse this awning down and zip it right up and show you how dark it is inside, because it's a reasonably sunny day today. We're in a little bit of shade here, but it should give you an idea of how much light this Darkroom technology fabric cuts out. So we'll zip this up. Now things are going to get dark. We'll be able to see light just coming in pretty much just from up underneath the bottom of the fly sheet. And what I want to show you before I zip up the inner tent is that this material, it's actually pretty good. 95% of the light, they say it blocks out, but there is the odd little spot here and there. You can see a little patch here. I can see a little one just up here, kind of like looking at a starry night. So there are little spots where light comes through. It doesn't completely block out all the light, but it certainly makes it a lot darker in here than it is on the outside. I'll take it one step further and zip up the inner door here as well. Cuts out a bit of that radiant light coming in from up underneath the fly sheet out there. That's where most of the light coming in now is from. And you can just see sort of a glow around the base of the tent. Certainly dark enough to sleep in here because it is the middle of the day at the moment. I'll just turn the light on here. You can see that's now giving us good light inside here. You wouldn't know it was light outside apart from a bit of light around the base of the tent. So the fabric certainly cuts out enough light for you to sleep in here at any time of the day. That is all the features of the Coleman Instant Swagger 3-person tent with Darkroom. Now call it a tent, call it a swag, call it a swent, whatever you like. Kind of fills that funny sort of grey area, that void between what a swag is and what a tent is. It offers really good weather protection, a bit more living space than a swag, but doesn't come with bedding and mats incorporated inside it. But certainly a popular choice for that extra bit of shelter, that extra room, something for the kids at the campsite. And you can check them out online at snowies.com.au where you'll find them at our lowest prices every day. If you've got any questions, let us know down in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel for all of our latest and greatest information, or check out some other cool Coleman products like these ones down here.